Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where we explore the timeless tales that shape our understanding of life. Today, we have a story that pulls back the curtain on royalty, pride, and the true meaning of wealth. It's the story of a king, a princess, and a lesson that would change their lives forever. In a magnificent kingdom, ruled by a wise and just king, lived a princess of unparalleled beauty. However, her beauty was matched only by her pride. She was spoiled, arrogant, and believed her worth was defined by her royal status and the riches that surrounded her. She would mock any suitor who wasn't of the highest nobility, finding fault in every prince who came to seek her hand. Her laughter was often cruel, her words sharp as daggers, and her heart seemed encased in ice. The king, her father, watched this with a heavy heart. He loved his daughter dearly, but he knew that her pride was a poison that would one day lead to her ruin. He had tried talking to her, reasoning with her, but his words fell on deaf ears. She was convinced that the world owed her everything. So, the king decided that if words couldn't teach her, then life would have to. He devised a plan, a drastic and daring one, to teach his daughter a lesson in humility she would never forget. One day, he announced a grand feast, inviting nobles and commoners alike. The princess, dressed in her finest silks and jewels, walked among the guests with her head held high, scorning anyone she deemed beneath her. It was then that a minstrel, a poor musician with a crooked back and a weathered face, began to play a melody so beautiful it silenced the entire hall. The princess, however, saw only his ragged clothes and jeered, "Look at this wretched man. He dares to play in my presence?" The king, seeing his opportunity, stood up and declared with a firm voice, "Daughter, your pride has gone too far. You have mocked every honorable man who has come for you. Therefore, I swear an oath, the first man to walk through this door tomorrow morning shall be your husband, be he a prince or a pauper." The princess paled, but she thought it was an empty threat. Surely her father wouldn't be so cruel. The next morning, the great doors of the castle swung open, and who should walk in but the very same poor minstrel from the night before. The princess cried, she begged, she pleaded, but the king's word was law. A priest was summoned, and before the sun had fully risen, the proud princess was married to the humble musician. Her fine gowns were replaced with simple peasant clothes, and with tears streaming down her face, she was led away from the castle, her only home. As they walked, her new husband led her through vast, beautiful lands. "Whose magnificent forest is this?" she asked, a hint of her old self returning. "It belongs to the good King Thrushbeard," the minstrel replied. "If you had taken him, it would be yours." A pang of regret hit her. They passed lush meadows and a bustling city. Each time she asked, the answer was the same. "It all belongs to King Thrushbeard. If you had just been kinder, it all would have been yours." Her heart ached with what she had lost. They finally arrived at his home, a tiny rickety shack on the edge of the woods. It was nothing more than a single room with a dirt floor. "This is where we will live," he said gently. The princess was horrified. There were no servants, no feather beds, no gilded mirrors. "I cannot live like this," she cried. "I don't know how to cook or clean." Her husband simply replied, "Then you must learn. We must both work to eat." Her new life began. Her soft hands, which had only ever known fine embroidery, became rough and callous from scrubbing pots and tending a fire. She tried to weave baskets, but the reeds cut her fingers. She tried to spin thread, but the spindle pricked her skin. She failed at every task, feeling more useless than she ever had in her life. Her husband was never cruel, but he was firm. "We must earn our keep," he would say. Finally, he found her a job selling pottery in the town market. At first, her pride burned. People who once would have bowed to her now haggled over a few pennies. But as days turned into weeks, something inside her began to shift. She saw the kindness in the eyes of a baker who gave her a warm loaf of bread. She heard the laughter of children playing in the streets and felt a warmth she'd never known in the cold castle halls. She started to see the value in a hard day's work and the simple joy of a shared meal. One day, a handsome nobleman on a grand horse rode through the market. He rode carelessly, and his horse shattered all her pots into 100 pieces. She burst into tears, not because of the lost money, but because she had worked so hard to create them. She ran home, crying to her husband, "What will we do now? It's all my fault." He held her and comforted her, and for the first time, she felt a genuine connection to him, a sense of partnership. He wasn't just the poor minstrel anymore. He was her husband, who had been patient and kind through it all. Her husband then found her a job as a kitchen maid in the royal castle, the very castle she had been cast out of. She worked in the scullery, her face smudged with soot, her old life just a stone's throw away but a world apart. She would hide scraps of leftover food in her pockets to take home for their dinner. She felt shame but also a strange sense of gratitude for what little she had. One afternoon, the castle was abuzz with preparations for a grand wedding, the wedding of the king. The princess, hiding in the shadows of the great hall, watched as nobles in their finest attire filled the room. Her heart ached with a bittersweet nostalgia. Then, the king himself entered. He was tall and regal, and as he walked closer, her breath caught in her throat. He looked familiar. He walked directly towards her, the scullery maid hiding by the pillar. He took her hand, and his touch was gentle. He smiled, and in that smile, she saw it. The kindness, the patience, the gentle eyes of her husband, the poor minstrel. But it wasn't a minstrel's face. It was the face of King Thrushbeard, the very king she had mocked so mercilessly. The king, her husband, looked at her, and his voice was filled with love. "My dear," he said, "I am the minstrel you married, and I am the nobleman who broke your pots. I did all this because I loved you. I didn't love the proud princess, but I saw the good heart buried beneath the pride. I wanted you to find it for yourself." Tears streamed down her face, but these were not tears of sorrow or anger. They were tears of understanding, of relief, and of profound love. She looked at her rough hands and then at his. She had lost the kingdom of riches only to find a world of true wealth in humility, hard work, and genuine love. From that day on, she ruled by his side, not as a proud princess, but as a wise and compassionate queen, beloved by her people because she understood their struggles, their joys, and the simple dignity of a well-lived life. This story reminds us that true value isn't found in what we have, but in who we are. Humility and kindness are the greatest jewels we can possess. Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible tale. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, subscribe for more stories, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and kind.